Hello guys, welcome back to another lesson with Rivera Fine Art Studios. I'm very glad you could join me today. I'm going to be showing some clips from a recent Zoom class that I taught. This is actually a lecture, and I do teach a number of classes as well as lectures, and that information is always available on my website, which is www.riverafinearts.com. So in the video I'm about to show, I'm going over a technique where I'm toning my own paper, and I'm doing that with an ink wash, and then I am creating a tonal drawing on top of that using dark and light drawing mediums. So I'm actually doing a copy of an old master drawing, and this was very common, a common practice. A lot of old masters worked this way. If you would like more information on these types of techniques, I am also offering a lot of these classes on my online school, and that address is www.riverafineartstudios.thinkific.com. And on that site, I have a lot of pre-recorded classes, and I'm going to be adding a bunch more. I'm currently offering a 50% off Black Friday sale, so I'm doing that all of this week, and that's going to end on November 29th at midnight. So if you're interested, I would definitely recommend checking out that site, and I'll post links in the description below, both from my personal website as well as my online school. So without any further ado, I'm going to show you the video clips, and I hope you enjoy, and please let me know if you have any questions. You can always post them in the comments below, and if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy the video.
I'm going to do this kind of quickly. I'm just going to lay this down. And if I want to go more transparent, I can add a little more water. If I want to go more opaque, I can add more of the ink. What's happening is you're seeing little air bubbles, which are going to dissipate as I brush this down. And in part, that's what's going to create some of that texture. And obviously, the more water you have, the more of those air bubbles will form. And I'll kind of go over it maybe a couple times. I'll sort of brush down some of the areas while it's still wet. This acrylic ink does dry pretty fast. That's one advantage. It will dry within 10 or 15 minutes. So you can put it down and then start working on top of it pretty quickly. Get a few loose hairs in there. I can always go back and even take a palette knife or something and get those out of there. All right, so that's sort of the initial application. And then let's say I did want to add some texture to that. I'm going to reapply my ink in a more pure form. So this is very concentrated. And I'm going to take my brush and I can just sort of tap it, so create some of that organic texture, which might be similar to some of the those examples that we were looking at. Kind of stipple, or tap, or just create organic marks. And I don't know if you can see it. What's happening is the paper is, at the moment, it's wrinkling because it's wet, but that will relax as the water dries. So don't worry about that. Okay. So I'm just working my lines right over top of this wash, and you can see that's going down really nice. It's actually creating, those lines are very, they're going down real smooth. They're not blending, even though the paper feels just slightly damp to the touch. The charcoal is not blending with it. And again, this was my Canson Mitientes paper, which is actually a really nice paper. It has a nice tooth to it. I really like the way the charcoal feels as it's going over this. And I could probably even use a little pastel to draw this out too, like that would work just as well. So if, you know, these lines, for example, maybe if I wanted a slightly warmer tone, I could use like a dark brown pastel. And as I'm starting to put these lines down, I'm thinking that might work very nicely. So I'm looking primarily at the corners of the mouth here. Just again, doing shapes. I'm really looking at shapes. I'm not drawing continuous lines. Just kind of putting down shapes and then filling them in with values. There's a nice fluid kind of expressive line quality in the hair. Like this is really nice through here. There's a lot of movement through here. This is really nice stuff. All right, so what I'm going to do is take a brush, a soft brush, and really use that to smooth out some of my charcoal powder that I have put down. You know, this initial layer. So I can use this and just brush over top. And then I'm going to continue to build my darks back into this. And I might use some charcoal pencil as well to work back into this. You can see as I brush down on this, it's really getting transparent again, and it's coming a little bit cooler, a little bit of a cool gray actually. The Nitrium charcoal is very soft, and you can see how easy it is to remove that. That's why I recommend always starting with that. And you can use the charcoal pencil when you're ready to commit to your darks. But you don't want to use that in the beginning. If I want to define an edge, I can do it with value, or I can just clean something up with the eraser. Let me grab my white charcoal pencil and start popping some lights into this. So I'll highlight right there. And with this technique, the artist is not blending his whites with his darks. So anything that's a mid-tone is being described with the tone of the paper. There's really no blending of the two mediums together. I'm going to try my, this is a white pastel. I'm going to see if that maybe gives me more of that effect. Still a little smooth, which normally I like. But because I'm trying to imitate this artist, I want to be more true to his methods. Nice highlight on the nose. A couple highlights here, actually. You know, now I'm just looking for places to add light as well as darks. And I'm trying to develop this sort of all at once, focus on everything at the same time, and just move around the picture. Let's actually work on this area. So I had this core shadow, which is more, I see more hatched lines through the core shadow. So, you know, we have the smooth base here, and then we have these hatched lines laid on top of that. And that creates a nice effect. And you could build this up a few times. Like I could actually probably have darkened my base tone a little bit, but this is how these guys would work. They would just kind of work between, you know, blended areas, smoothing areas out, and then other areas they would leave more of the line quality. So it's a nice sort of balance there. But I did want to just for fun, and this isn't necessarily going to be true to the original, I want to see what would happen if I mixed a warmer tone into this drawing. So I'm going to use this pastel here, which is, I guess you could say that's kind of a burnt sienna color. And a lot of times you will see this too, like they might use 2 or 3 different colors over top of the wash. I showed a few examples of that in the beginning. So this is just something else to, experiment with. And that just goes right over top of the charcoal very nicely. And then I can blend that. Maybe in the lips, I'll go a little stronger with that. Could even use a sanguine too. That would work well here. And that just adds another hue. And then I can take my or my brush rather, and blend that. So that warmth of the wash is still showing through, and that's going to make these shadows very, very warm. And this helps you to slowly begin introducing more and more color into your drawing. So if this is something that you want to experiment with, and often I'll do this just to understand colors better. What you can actually achieve with limited materials is pretty remarkable if you're using them the right way. You can start to really just build up this wonderful sense of warm and cool and get really, really interesting color effects. Looking at this transition, this could be a little softer right here coming into the light. So I'll stick with my charcoal. And now I'm kind of taking a little bit of my own take on this, and I'm thinking about the lights being cooler. So I'm not going to add this warm brown to any of my light areas. This is where I'm going to just add my charcoal right over the tone of the paper. And you can see that has the effect of cooling things down.